We'll start with some opening comments from Coach, then we can take questions.
I want to give Coach Ferentz and his team a lot of praise. They all played us today. Physical battle, it was a fun one, but we obviously didn't make enough plays to get it done, and we have some things we got to correct going forward.
Jim, you mentioned, do you think your defense played well enough to win? And when you talk about correcting things, do you think today the biggest corrections would be offense and special teams? Just today?
Yeah, just today. I mean, obviously, we played well.
Yeah.
I think we held them to almost 150 yards and put in some tough situations. We got to find a way to punch our way out of it. That's the only thing you can do when you're kind of back against the wall after some turnovers or field position with special teams. So proud of the way we played on defense, but we need to get a win, and we couldn't find a way to get it done. A little disappointed they were able to churn out some yards at the end. Not an effort issue. They executed some plays and just sneaking over, getting first down. So very proud of the way we played on defense, and special teams, let us down in some areas, and obviously when you give up a pick six, that kind of changes the whole momentum of the game. It's tough to overcome sometimes.
Jim, you said a couple times over the last couple of years that when you guys get in big games, you need to perform in them, right? And I think most of you have talked about, you've been referring to Big Ten championship games, but the last couple of years it's been these games within a season, right, that are big moments. Get over that hump of performing in these moments.
It's got to be emphasized all year round. You have to get your guys comfortable in close games and in tough situations. That would be a huge emphasis of mine all year round. I think you have to, in order to win close games, which is what you'd anticipate in the Big Ten, right? You're going to get in some battles when the weather turns, field position, things get a little bit tighter, the room for error gets lower. So it's going to be a huge emphasis, and it has been since I've taken over. I'm not saying it wasn't before, but you have to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and I think we have some guys that are growing into that. We've learned a ton about this football team over the first half of the year, and I think we've applied a lot of those lessons that we learned when we got hot there for a couple games, and we got to learn from adversity with a loss now.
Jim, did Graham say anything about whether the ball handling or something was going on? Because it seemed like his passes were kind of sailing, and he had that one snap that ended up as a fumble.
No, he hadn't said anything to me, but obviously when it gets cold and windy like this, it gets slick, and it's just something you got to deal with. Both teams have to deal with the same environment out there, so we got to play cleaner, right? We have to sustain drives and flip the field at least at times in moments like this where it's going to be a little bit close and force teams to make mistakes.
What'd you see on the block play?
I didn't get a really good chance to see what happened. I know they had a lot of size, a lot of defensive linemen out there and stuff like that, and I think we just got overpowered on the edge, but I am not sure exactly what happened on it to see what we have to correct, but we'll definitely get it corrected.
Jim, if you get this job, what is your vision for special teams? Do you want someone whose sole responsibility is that unit, or and what big picture? Like, this is a team you played against that is consistently good at that area. How do you get to that level?
I think we need to have a dynamic special teams unit. Whatever that takes, it takes. If that's someone dedicated to it full time, but you need to be able to create momentum with your special teams, and you need to be able to just stop the bleeding at times when things get rough. So obviously throughout my career, that was the huge, role that I had, and understand how big it is, and mentioned it a number of times. As things get close, when you play great teams, that needs to be a factor in the game, and unfortunately today was a factor in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Jim, I know late in the week some rumors were swirling around about Braylon. Did you have to talk to him at all? Did you see it affect him at all about those things surfacing and him having to address them on a radio show?
Yeah, unfortunately we have to recruit our own team every day right now. I would never accuse any teams of tampering with your players, but teams are tampering with other people's players, and it's unfortunate to see where it's at, but I have to continue to show a clear vision. I've mentioned it a number of times. The uncertainty is going to cause people to look and see what the best decisions for their future are, and we have to be real about that as coaches, and that's why we have these conversations almost daily with our team about where we're going, what the plan is, and how we're gonna get there. That's all we can do at this point. And like I said, it's unfortunate that a kid has to address that with the media when it's not supposed to be real, right? But obviously it is.
Okay.
Jim, on Thursday, you were asked about hitting yardage, and you said you can't let the ball hit the ground. The play by Ingram when he couldn't feel it, is that when he's just gotta find a way to feel that ball so it doesn't get down with the one?
I mean, I'm not gonna throw a player under the bus. I gotta see what happened. Generally on special teams, when the ball's on the ground, bad things happen. And you have to do everything you can. We trust you to go catch the football back there. And like I said, it's tough environment to catch the football. And you know, the worst thing that can happen is you not being able to field it and causing the turnover that way. So you have to feel comfortable enough that you're going to execute the catch. But obviously it was a huge momentum shift with us starting to drive inside the one.
Jim, usually a performance like that from the defense is accompanied with a win. What do you, how have you seen the guys kind of react to that? And what do you tell the guys? Because I'm sure it's deflating to come away with a loss, even though the team played like that, or the defense played like that.
It's always tough as a defense to play that well and get a loss, but football's the ultimate team sport. You have to play well in different areas. We have a number of defensive players on our special teams. You know, how much did we impact the game in that area in a positive way, and that's ball. You know, some days you play well and don't get it done, and in others the offense has to pick us up. That's the way football works, and that's why you love it and that's why you hate it at the same time.
Cool. Jim, obviously, Iowa's got a good front seven, but what were they doing that made the running game just so inconsistent today? Because they had a couple plays, but just nothing that you guys are kind of used to.
Yeah, just from my view, it looked like a little bit more movement, a little more pressure. You know, they really wanted to apply pressure to our front, force a lot of one-on-one blocks, and you know, with the weather being a factor, right, you're only going to be able to do so much on the perimeter at times, and I thought they did a great job of really attacking up front and kind of creating some numbers, creating some angles that were tough for the O-line and tight ends to handle.
Jim.
Jim, Purdue beating Illinois obviously opens the door for you guys. Is that the most disappointing part of today, is that you didn't take that opportunity and go through that?
Yeah, I didn't know that happened, but obviously all you can ask for is a chance, and we can control what we can control, and that's getting wins. The rest of the Big Ten, we needed some help, and it sounded like we got it, but you have to handle your own business. You know, Iowa's a great team, and they played their best football the last couple of weeks, and they continued that stretch today, and we didn't play ours.
Okay.
I'd say, Jim, with Braylon on the field, I know that he talked last week about having a lingering shoulder issue. And a couple times, with a couple of the runs looked like he ran out of bounds instead of maybe having more contact or administering more contact. So something that you had to regulate and keep tabs on him throughout the game in that regard, in terms of keeping him in the game and also how much punishment he should take.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Braylon's a warrior. I mean, he's a banger. He's a very physical back, and when you play that style of football, you're going to get beat up a little bit. And you know, just proud of the way he's handled everything this year. You know, he wants that role. He wants to be an enforcer out there, and he wants the ball in his hands, and that's all we can ask for our lead back. And just proud of him, and you know, we'll see. As always, you critique every run, man. He's gonna be hard on himself, just like the coaches are, and he's disappointed every time he makes a cut that he shouldn't have, or bounces something or predetermines things. So love the way he runs the ball. Right, he's a huge factor for us, and he will continue to be.
Jim, you guys had to navigate an emotional roller coaster with the coaching change. What can you take away from that to kind of guide the guys and kind of relift their spirits? Because I'm sure it was a kind of a deflating loss for the guys.
Yeah, you're gonna have adversity. I mean, you're always gonna have adversity in season. You wish you can have all the lessons coming after wins and really forcing you guys to stay focused that way, but sometimes you come up short. And our guys are workers. You know, they care about each other. They're committed to this thing, and you know, we'll find a way to show up next week, I promise. And I'm excited for the challenge, and we got to move on quick in order to have success next week.
Okay, time for one more call. It seemed like there were a few times with the receivers and Graham they were just not on the same page. Was there maybe more choice routes or things that they were trying to read the defense with, or was it just some miscommunications that are uncharacteristic last week?
Yeah, not that I know of. I mean, I think there was definitely some miscommunication we got to get cleaned up, and from a coverage standpoint, these guys are multiple, and they do some good things as far as bracketing certain receivers and stuff like that. So kind of takes a little time to decipher what's going on and how you're getting attacked. And I mean, the biggest issue is getting behind the sticks a lot, right? A lot of third downs, a lot of third and longs, and anytime you're allowing defenses to play third and long football, you're going to have success, especially as multiple as they are on defense.
Thanks, Coach.